Back in the day, you used to be able to park the kids in front of Disney with a VCR, and in the 80s and 90s, and you could just trust Disney. It would be inconceivable that they would do this kind of stuff, but that's not the way it is now. I understand people wish it was. They wish they had something like Disney Plus and they could put the kids in front of it. It's just that's not the way of the world anymore. So Disney backing away from woke, and if you still support Disney at this point in any way, if you have Disney Plus or any of those subsidiaries, I mean you can't be that asleep at the wheel to not know what Disney is putting out there. What does it take to get you to cancel it? Do they have to set up an Aztec style blood sacrifice table and actually start yeeting people? First of all, nobody is actually BLTVQ whatever. It's all a fad, like every other fad that comes and goes every few years. And people say it's not a fad, but it is a fad because that's how fads work. You get a tulip mania. That's a cool little period of history where I mean, people are still into flowers, but there's, bloom and bust cycles. You get a massive amount of excitement for something, and then you get a bust, and then some new fad comes along. That's welcome to humanity. Kids are easily programmed by the environment they're in. They're supposed to be. They're little learning machines, and if you don't teach your kids, then other people will, and they're very, very bad people. That's why they're terrified of homeschool. No. You have to go to government schools and learn gay, mixed race, space, communist values. Like, maybe that's not such a good idea. Um, Kids are programmed by the environment. They're little learning machines, and if they're in government schools and connected to the internet, they're going to be brainwashed by these lizard people into thinking, oh, I don't know, what's the most hyperbolic, asinine statement I could come up with that would just be, it would just shock the conscious and blow verisimilitude out of the wall. Oh, thinking boys are girls. No, that's crazy. There's no way the humiliation ritual can go that far to go, oh, hey, it worked. They think little boys are girls, as long as they identify as it. Well, I mean, you're not a boy if you were born a girl any more than you're Irish if you were born Nigerian. Those are immutable characteristics. It's called plain pretend. This is just imagination land. So the lizards at Disney want to destroy the family and the country, and they've done a lot of damage along with the rest of the media. That's the power of brainwashing when the entire mainstream media is repeating this messaging. A great example is Strange Worlds, the animation. We're talking about gay race mixed space communism. That's pretty much peak Disney, because they're sexualizing kids and Disney. And if you told me 20 years ago someone would say that in the same sentence, it would be like, was Disney taken over by some kind of demonic entities? Like, well, that's probably closer to than true than not. So if the entire mainstream media is repeating this messaging and the celebrities are pushing it, the kids are mostly going to follow along. It's not until they leave high school that they wake up out of this globalist matrix and start to learn that the media and their idiot teachers and their school lied to them. I mean, we all went through that. When you leave high school, it's like suddenly you just go, oh, the teachers, this is what liberal bias is like. And it just kind of comes to you pretty quickly. If you have a classroom full of the BLT flags and the textbooks pushing all these kind of nonsense, the gender unicorn and all this kind of garbage, and the mainstream media is pushing it where it feels like there's a machine pushing all this stuff, and the machine didn't exist 20 years ago, but it exists now, you can just assume it's a lie, a psychological operation, and for some nefarious purpose. It's not organic. Because when did people get so naive as to think like the government cares about them? How do you reach that? Oh, no, you understand. Big pharma and the government and the media, they actually want what's in our best interest. You just want to repeat that back to people and look them in the eye until they go, oh, somebody got fooled. Somebody's peeing on our leg, and that's what eventually people get it. I mean, most people get it if they're somewhere to the right of the bell curve. The people pushing it are evil. They're evil either evil, which means like they're intentionally acting with intent, or they're low IQ useful idiots like a lot of school teachers are. Like there's nobody who thinks they're smarter than a school teacher. And then you point out, how do you know the things you think you know? Who published those books? Do they have any bias? Do they have any financial interest? The problem with this current fad is it causes permanent damage. So there's a sunk cost investment thing going on where even when they leave high school and they realize like this is all globalist lies, well, unfortunately, they've already sterilized themselves, which is why this level of Weimar is so evil. The mainstream is absolutely toxic. I don't know how parents aren't aware of this. The best thing you could do would be, I mean, not to have a TV, but the modern TV is the internet, and keep the internet under lock and key. Books are the best thing kids could possibly have because you can't police the internet and media. You can only cut it off. And the thing is, it wouldn't be that hard to police the internet if there was a desire to do it. But oddly enough, there's not like with the adult prurient interest type of content. You go, okay, hey, adults want to have access to that, no, not a problem. But surely there's a way to keep it away out of kids' hands, right? Surely we could do something to prevent kids from seeing just the most graphic things. No, totally out of our hands. Can't do anything. It's like I kind of think technology could do something. Oh no, don't worry about that. Just let your kids watch this kind of monstrous stuff. It's like, yeah, it's weird the things that we don't focus on, that we just allow for some reason. So the mainstream is toxic. You got to be aware of that. You can't police the media, but you can cut it off. And there's no Disney Kids programming or the Cartoon Network or a bunch of these other networks, because in their minds, what they consider kids shows are the ones telling children that they can be the other sex, which is evil. It's globalist lizard propaganda to destroy kids. The Blue's Clues is some kind of cartoon for kids. Has a BLT, like a otter or a beaver or something, which I guess they have they removed their mammary glands, so they have scar tissue for these anthropomorphic beavers. Though, of course, I mean, oddly enough, the beavers, I think, have 6 mammary glands, but since it's anthropomorphic, they only put scar tissue for 2. It's to let you know that, hey, young girls, you can remove these glands and you'll never breastfeed your child again. You'll never bond with a child. You'll never have that experience. So then you get pregnant and you have to like bottle feed the kid because you remove the organs that are meant to do that. It's like, oh, this is insane. Obviously, this is just fucking crazy. Vote harder. Yeah, I don't think conventional political. I think we passed. I think that ship sailed. And the funny thing is, like, some people think the awakening is realizing that ship sailed longer and longer ago. You can go back further and further, and you're like, oh, was it like a psyop? Was America a psyop? Maybe. So the thing is, if you show kids a show about people who think that they're the other gender, then the kids are simply going to copy that behavior. And there's 2 sexes, and genders derive from sex, and it's a binary. If you show kids they think they can be the other sex, they're simply going to copy that behavior, so they can feel special and they can get attention, because that's what kids have done throughout history. And you could do this with anything. You could have kids programming that shows kids get attention, they dress up nice, and they play golf. And, like golf is probably not going to be something little kids would be into, but that would be a great experiment, because I think you'd have kids begging to play golf if the kids who were playing it on TV were, hip, slick, and cool. And obviously the programming works on adults as well, just not as well. It's easier to get the kids while they're young, which is what these, Epstein Island Disney types are all about. The whole thing is easier to understand when you humorously call them globalist lizard people who are destroying society. You just have to kind of throw that out there to frame it like this. Even if you're obviously joking, people start to look at Bob Iger and the people at the top of these media companies in a different light. Because if they're pushing evil propaganda, that makes them evil. They're not They know what they're doing. Like Bob Iger is evil. Everyone at Disney is evil. Everyone at the top of all these corporations is evil. If you want to do a little research, you can watch some of their Zoom calls, their shareholder meetings, where they're talking about the things they talk about, and you realize, oh, these people are out of their freaking minds. They're the worst kind of like LA ultra wealthy liberal, where they're just in such an echo chamber. They think the things they're saying, like, oh yeah, I have 3 kids, and they're all BLT, trans, non-binary, two-spirit, all this kind of just like nonsense. But it's this woman, a girl boss. I remember that call is so friggin' horrific. And then this other chick is going, yeah, we're making things as gay as possible. Like, you're making kids programming? We're just reflecting society. No, as I said yesterday, you're shaping society. That was the argument with the rap industry. If they showed kids with big, normal, healthy families going to church, involved in positive, healthy relationships like they used to, that would be the model for kids. And that's how programming is supposed to work. Kids are supposed to be exposed to healthy models so they can learn how to emulate these things. That's what you're supposed to teach your kids. And I don't know what generation that kind of hit the wall, but it's kind of another video. Letting Disney and the lizard media raise your kids is societal suicide. If the media didn't push gay everything, there would be almost none, other than some small, naturally occurring percentage. Society doesn't arise in a vacuum. In a healthy society, the pop culture is also healthy. Hollywood's not healthy. It's Bolshevik lizards pushing this globalism. There's not even any diversity in Hollywood, and it's all toxic. It's just different degrees of toxic. Older, classical, organic, nationalist-based movies now have trigger warnings, because that's how deep into Weimar we are. That's the inverted world. The modern stuff should come with warnings. Hey, these are globalists responsible for pushing this cancer. It's designed to destroy your kids and alienate them from their families to create the communist dream, which is the found family, the rootless people. And there's no way to counter this propaganda. It's best to just cut it all out and start a book collection, which you can keep forever. The stuff Disney is, or maybe you can get a movie collection of movies that are pre woke Disney. You could probably put it all on a micro SD card. The stuff Disney is pushing now is so obvious and so heavy handed that even people who don't want to see it are starting to see it. Why not have this show about the struggles of cross-racial people and how society doesn't accept them? People who are born Chinese, but they identify as Swedish, or they identify as aliens, or maybe birds. Because once you open the door to nonsense like this, then everything's on the table. If you can be a woman, then you can be anything you want. Nothing. What's stopping you from thinking that you're also Japanese? Anything the media puts out, no matter how insane, will have people accept it. And it'll have insane people defend it and try to replicate it. And if the media is evil, as they are, then they're going to push people to sterilize their kids. And that's actually happening. No. They're not doing this stuff to kids. How many examples do you need to see of them doing this to kids? I think things make more sense when you look at the media and realize that they're Satanists. Think about it this way. If they were Satanists, would their behavior be any different? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.